The concept of knowing who you are is understanding position locations and to review. You have a test, review, and evaluations of yourself. And that's what you do every single day when you get up in the morning. You're going through a test, you're going through your review, and you're going through your evaluation. You're evaluating everything that you do in a 24-day set locations, right? The problem is that the mind is trying to find out where it is in conception, is trying to find out where does it stand? Where is it in position of future line? Is it in position of center? Is it in position of past? Or is it in its future locations? You have to understand the balance. Your alignments is extremely important inside location. Okay? So you're trying to interlock its connections, interface lines, and interlacing communications. Trying to understand the provision and how it works in our calculations. For example, okay, the team doesn't know this. Now, you have a chakra setting. It's all foundational location in DNA, which is 12 set locations, right? Knowing how to use it is extremely powerful through motion because it connect line setting in seconds, minutes, and the hour location settings, right? Your chakras are spinning extremely fast in set locations. Their energy cycles, their data streams, their data routers, line connection to the sun and position of the moon. So set line communication settings. Each chakra has the sun and the moon set locations. Okay? Way beyond recognition. Now, once you understand that, then you understand the projections. Whoa, multipass on that set locations. Team didn't know that. Now they do, right? All calculation, each chakra has a yin and yang, but you have to understand the process first through light and dark. The center calculation system is the center operation of you first. So in that track communication setting, you go from 0 to 5. You want to understand everything through the right and the left side locations. What is right and what is left? Right is the earth of its higher self. Anything above is calculations to its avatar, 6 and above. So if you want to push the buttons in communications and understand what you're doing through coloration in chronological order and set location settings into your set positions of your energy cells, pocket cells, or energy line or rotation position high system, is to get your hand and touch your position locations of your heart. Okay? Right hand, not the left. Right, only the right, because you're dealing with the higher self of the earth core. Okay? Team didn't know this. This is a little bit of trick for you. Tricks and trades. To understand, to get into breathing mechanism is extremely powerful through correlation, a coloration of patterns. In that direct signal, you have to learn how to use it in all levels of fortification. Calculations in a 42 line stream and lights. So you take your right hand, okay, get in positions of your solar plex because it's yellow. You see yellow. You are yellow. The coloration is yellow. The identification is yellow. Okay? And that line's because you're using your right hand. If you want to connect with higher levels, out of 0 to 5, you use your left hand because you're connecting to your avatar, which is connecting to your throat, which is blue. Your connections to your theta, which is indigo, and position locations to your infinity, which is purple. Okay? Little tip and trade there for the team. So you didn't know that, did you? And now you do. So you have to really understand how to balance out the right lines and the left lines of space and time. Okay? Left over right, right over left in set location system. How to see things is not through 2 panels. It's crossing signals because you got to set up a platform of pi. Now the correlation line setting is set locations in a 144 DNA. Crossing line center stream location system. You're setting, sitting, standing, lying down on a crystal grid. Okay? That formation, if you're lying down, it's a platform. You stand up, it's a circle. You're sitting, it's an L shape. So it's set like condition high interference, and that's another thing that team doesn't understand. Energy signal location positions. I'm sitting in a chair, but it's not a crystal grid. The crystal grid is the core line, center line connection that's connected to the chair because you're sitting in position location. If I'm standing in set line condition system, I'm on the crystal grid that's rotating. It's going very fast. Okay? So try to understand the concept. And if you're lying down flat, it's a platform line. It's a crystal grid, but it's connected to the lines of a slab. It's like, and every time you change your motion line interference, it changes the correlation setting, the direct line setting. You have a pyramid rotation line interference that's connecting the line and position locations. Now, in that line calculation setting is its Grothian. Now, the Grothian sets the temperature reading line calculation setting, make you sure that you stay in your division locations through each of your patterns. Setting correlation line interference and track communication system. Now you understand the importance of 0 to 5. You use your right hands to see the color. You use your left hand to see 6 and above. Put your hands together to the position locations. All right, this is mantra. Okay, setting calculation line interference. Dalai Lama, all calculated, modified. Okay, Buddha, hands together, right? So you're connecting to your higher self, avatar. Together as one. Now you see the rainbow. So all your chakras are now connecting all in alignments all at once. And they're going extremely fast in rotation, in rotation, in rotation. Okay? So now you understand that. And the concept of knowing this is to keep you on a gravitational pull, which is an archetype. So it's a spherical sphere that's connected to a line connection. So it's like a hula hoop. And that's keeping you grounded inside location system. Because without the archetypes, you guys be floating in space in the physical one. There has to be a gravitational pull to keep you grounded. And that processes its communications to your crystal grid, which is 144 daily track locations. Anything above line, set line interference changes direct locations to your clock lines. So now you understand the provision. What right is the earth. Left is space. Higher self, avatar. Okay? Live it, know it, be it, do it. Okay? That's a concept that you have to do every single day. Okay? Get into your breathing. Okay? Get into the core lines, get into colorations, get into identifications, get into descriptions of what you're seeing, why you're seeing color. Why am I seeing a shape? What does this shape have to do with me? Well, it has to do with you because you're connected to your energy cycle location setting. It's all direct location in your chakras, right? Right? Everything is communication to the inner line setting in positions. So you are a reaction of consciousness, okay? Transmitting and receiving information, okay? But it's very important you understand the earth and space of you inside location, especially when you come into your phenomenal line conditions, your phenomenal location systems. How to use an correlation setting, knowing it, being aware of what you're seeing through your site location system. How you are calculating and modified through a gravitational pull. You actually look below and you actually can see the pyramid spinning below you. That means you can see the grounds beneath you, right? That's going beyond the mind. And I keep saying it over and over and over. Do not look at my hand. Look at me. Don't look at the hand. Okay? You look at me. Always look behind. So when you're looking behind, you're not just seeing this. You're seeing 8 fingers. Now, if you get better, you see calculations of 10 fingers. All right? Inside a location, you see 20 fingers. Right? It's going so fast, that location. All right? Now, that is a Mandela effect. Okay? Now, you understand why you have mirrors. Why are mirrors connected to your set locations? Mirror resolution patterns. You're seeing a mirror of your self location system. You're seeing a mirror of you and your ego line condition setting. You're seeing a mirror of you of alter state location. It's all levels of you through reflection. Okay? So these are the things you have to understand through adaptation setting when you come into all calculations, how to use yourself in provision. Okay? So I really want you to understand that now. So the team can get into that. You want to understand what you see? Go through the right, 0 to 5. Anything above, you go through the left, which is 6 and above. Okay? And anything line interference, set location system is all calculated to modify high atmosphere line settings. 13 is your higher self, the actual higher self. Okay? So the more you know, okay, through number, through color, through description, through identification, you have a better chance line setting to understand calculation. And it's so important to understand your foundations, guys, especially when you come into 12 set locations, right? So these are the things you have to understand. What is 24? Why do we need to understand 24 clocking? Well, you need to understand a 24 clocking because the Earth is at 24. What's a window? Why do I have to understand 48 windows? Well, because you have to understand the window location of your computers. Whoa, why do I have to understand 72? Well, 72 is track communication operation to your computer setting, your CPU. Well, why do I have to understand 144? It's the connection line interference to your crystal grid that keeps your formations at balance in travel mechanism locations. Okay. Now you understand the process of what it is, position, location, and correlation. It's all levels of view from information. You're an information panel. You are a communication device line. You're telegraphing, telecommunicating, right? Telewaving, telecentral line calculation, co-weaving, co-activation streamline. It's all calculated modified in inside location system. But the balanced communication comes from inside a view of its alignments. Truly understand, right is the Earth, left is space. That's all it is. Right is Earth, left is space. Higher self, avatar. Okay? That's all it is. And you want to put together a calibration system, get in your breathings, put your hands together. You'll see your rainbow activation line setting in set locations. You'll see all your chakras all at once. Light up because you infused your set locations. Right over left, left over right communications, positive over negative. What does it do? Turns on a light bulb. You need a positive and negative for anything to light up, right? That's the process where it starts in set locations. Okay. All right. So coming in line signature line stream, Mother Earth is going through a trimester 5 lines. It calculates modification, ice interference, but she's going through observation location at 333, only in set locations. She can't be disturbed because she's in her trimesters. She's got to go through line signature, line stream location into her DNA, which is 12 setting. So a mother births 9 months in set location setting, right? An actual mother and physical line calculation streamline is 9 months set locations. Mother Earth process calculation setting of foundation, 12 months. 9 in line setting, 3 in open window, 3 in sector, and 12 line connection of division. Okay. Center communication is extremely important when it comes into Mother Earth. She's in mortality into zero gravity line. Okay. Understand that process and how this all works now. Okay. So you have to really understand how to connect the setting locations to the intercept settings to balance the mind line of operation location of its alignments inside location system to your chakra settings, especially now. Okay. All right, let's see. So shutting off line settings, high interference, electrical line calculation streamlines, all calculation team lines, get in position location in the line settings, given in line interference. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. Calculate line interference, put them in space line, catapult line streamline, and calculation setting. Let's calculate, modify high line interference and hemi-saint location, position program locations, digitalize set line calculation streamlines, set line connection line interference, set them off locations. Done. All right, so all your line centers are off. Calculations. You got line condition of 2 minutes to get back in traction. Have fun. All right, center calculation streamline, setting position of track lines. Denita lines, Gypsy calculations, David line interference, Hemdahl calculation setting, Chris line calculations interference, Andre setting position location of track lines, have calculations interference, track communications. All right. Waving central lines of communication settings. Directing signals. Okay, so directing signal line settings, streamlines, sets position locations, all levels. This opens all track communications, right? You have to really understand how to use it through measure. Measure and scale is extremely important to understand the yin and yang process, calculation, line, and positions to its Earth, to the jugs, and through space. This is what you're dealing with. Ground lines of operation 1, circle line position of 2, and magnetic highway information line conditions of 3. That's what you're dealing with every single day. You are in the center of all calculation in set position. Okay? So all you're doing is you're not moving. The only thing that's moving is the mind. Now, the conception line setting is truly understand how to use it through provision. You have a data line set in a string location that's set up position locations. So it's kind of like a circuit pocket, right? Circuit pocket, electrical setting, electrical interference, electrical board line, high calculation, circuit line communication setting, data streams, line interference, and track communications, sending direct line signals in set locations. But you always are standing still. All you're doing is you're setting up formation location settings and high calculation settings of abundance and manifestation setting, but you're not moving calculation. You're not moving. Am I moving? No, my mind is. So in that correlation line and directions, you have to understand how to understand the mind of volume, mind through calculations, mind through track location setting, indirect say locations to your set locations to your perceivable cortex location, your streamlines, sets connecting to your location grid. Remember the condition higher self line setting? Well, you have to understand the location grid because without the location grid, you won't understand communication on all levels. You won't understand ringing ears. You won't understand track communication. You won't understand throat line settings. You won't understand line condition heart reactor. It's all calculated the reaction location inside position, right? But this is the process that we come into, okay? So you should be able to sit anywhere and sit line communication, lie down or stand, it doesn't matter. The mind shifts, the body follows. That's all it is. Nothing else, nothing more. But it's the position location when it comes into the psychological where you are in set position, how much you are in position of, and what do you see and why do you see these things through communications. That's the most important thing, is to balance these things out when you are sleeping. You're recharging every single line connections, but you're going through 0 lines, line condition of 9, line condition of 0, operation and set location, ozone line rotations, setting calculation and collaboration in communication, setting line interference, into pi recognition line connection. Okay? It's all through collaboration, isn't it? And so we all have to understand how to really get in position locations, especially when you get into your line settings. I keep saying that because you have to understand it's all formation to your cloud line. It's a geometric line interference that sets position location. There's interference locations. So the astrological line connection high setting is position of wave central communications. Now you guys are in line calculation of 62 now. 60 line settings in position of 2 location. All right. So that's 6 over pi, 2 over division, and 0 operation. Now there's 3 sector line calculation settings. Wave and line central communication, center calculation, right? Now the 0 line rotation is at 144. That stands in communication setting ground lines. Now the operation surface locations comes in this location setting in track communications into its UFO line rotation position. Track communication line is the identification lines of 6, 2, and 0 operation set location. Now, in that line connection, you come into 2 panels operation location into your line calculation setting to your pyramid. Okay? That my question. All right, so you got 62 track lines and 0 operation stream lines. That's 1 line position, 1 provision. Okay, so really understand the calculation settings when you come into formulas of equation locations. You have to really understand how to use it through calculations to your line settings. So in track communication line and positions, the operation surface location setting and direct signals is understanding all calculation modified on the line setting line condition of stargates, star portals, and Starlink line setting line interference and track communication system of echo chamber communication. Now line calculation line setting line and a Fibonacci line swirls set line connection line system. 2 track lines in each line communication setting tracks lines as position location operation. Now in that direct signal line interference, we take the 1 line, E lines of positive over positions of pi calculation. Right? Pi lines is Fibonacci line interference, cross stream, 3 weather line rotation interference, triangulation and percentage calculations, equal line conditions of 100%. Underline setting to all calculation and flux capacitor. Center calculation and triangulation and position of the box sets calculation streamline. Sets lines of female line, male line, male line, female line. Correlations of balance correlation setting, triangulation line interference into Merkaba position. Say calculation lines, cross line, streamline, operation surface, operation directions, operation channel, operation calculation. Streamline calculation settings, merge, set location setting, direct signals. Now calculation, you've got 2 panels, scale lines and high line interference. Now the track line communication lines and high interference comes in 4 lines of panel communications. Tracking communication line settings really understand how to identify calculation setting in direct locations. 114 line setting in mortality set lines of 0 gravity line rotations into 144 track locations. Ears are ringing now. So you're being aware of these things, but it's ringing where? Here, not here. So this is the connection settings to integrate locations to its higher self. That's setting me code lines of its Earth line rotation interference of Mother Earth and correlation system and operational line center line interference of observation locations at 333 and set location system of trimester of 5. That's the information I got from my ears ringing and set locations. Multi-pass. You have to be aware of these things and being taught locations. Directing signals of its awareness is to understand how to set location and settings. 3 line provisions, 4 in traction, and 5 in line calculation string. Okay? Directing signals and set lines of 2 line rotation surface and set locations. Channel operation line setting, coloration panels, operation circuit locations. 114 line setting, equal lines of 62. Track communication line interference, 0 gradient line rotations into triangulations of a new set and a new test right position of channel in a flux capacitor line stream and set locations. Done by equation, right? Looks like a scaffold, right? So it's all connected to hologram line setting. So all you have to understand, what is the 24? 24 is bounce of the Earth, okay? What is 48? 48 is your window line setting, the set locations. That opens up your theta line rotations. That comes into 72 of your computer operation stream and set locations, right? Setting calculation in 144 is line connecting high setting, interaction, and line calculation setting to your crystal grid. Okay? So understand how to use it all together is creating what? A hologram. Multi-pass. That's it. That's all it's doing. So you get a 24 line signature line at ground lines. Now that's operation server location system, but you're using calculation lines of clock lines. Setting lines of 0 and line condition of 9 and position location of 12 and 3 set locations. 3 bubble defense lines of triangulation at 3 set location. Okay? Setting calculation line interference of 0 in position of 9 in position of 12 in set locations. Now, the travel line center line interference changes calculation to its arrow direction. Setting calculation of force line triangular settings, directing signals in 3 set location system. All right? Now, in that direct line center, in the 0 line of the operation surface locations puts 1 position on 1 measure. Correlations factor over pi. Line connecting the highest line interference of operation signal in set location of its division. The rotation line interference, equal line center lines, 0 equals box, 9 equals triangulation, and 12 equals lines of Earth lines of 24 signal in set locations, right? Because 12 times 12 is 144. 12 plus 12 is 24. The plus line is the correlation setting the balance. So in direct signal line interference, we set location of maps of equation. So in that equation line setting, factors, calculation, modifications, factors, slash line into box, okay? Factors, slash line in box. Quasar, quantum, 3 box line rotation. 1 triangulation set line, okay? 1 circle locations. 1 star system line setting. 1 mechanism lines of a S line setting. Rotation of a planet surface location. All right? Now, try to understand how this works through factors line stream. Your 114 line has to understand the systematic line connections to its alphabetical line connections. I want you guys to get into your memory setting. It's not 26 letters, set lines. It's 26,000 lines into letter communications. You have to learn how to use it through the keyboards, key locks, assist locations. All calculate and modify. Getting the line interference and trying communication setting, 0 gravity, factors over calculation. Flux capacitor is set line connections. Merkaba, set line connections. Triangulation is set lines of center position operation. Line connecting, high interference of orb channel operation. Correlations in flux capacitor to line connection in a line setting into your tracker system. Triangulation lines of operation, center lines is communication of a sun, operation surface. Stun line system, high calculation setting, sets position of tone lines and mechanism high calculation of travel and set locations. Done my question. So I'm just showing you your latitude line stream because your 114 has to understand the phenomenon of operation. Now, it's calculated high interference. You come into calculation line settings of factors over pi. The power of time is the power of space of time. In that direct signal and set location setting, you have to really understand how to get into classification. You're classifying your set in that direct location system, right? This opens all sequence patterns and position of track line. Okay? All right. Where we are through provision location. Codes are coming in. Great. Exactly. Okay. So your center communication line settings. Now, once you understand the 244872, it comes one line setting. 1 equals lines of the earth. Okay. Now, calculate and modify, you split the line communication into 144 crystal grid location. Channels, lines, and line and flux capacitor communication, right? Center communication, travel line settings. So masculinity, femininity, masculinity, femininity. You guys aren't there yet. You guys are masculine femininity to your earth. Your earth has to be masculine femininity, masculine femininity. See? This is the correlation system you have to get into balance. And the trimesters, the 12 line centers of Mother Earth, is going to set position location of its tone. That's going to set communication to your settings and balance location. Okay? So that's position track lines you guys coming in location Earth. So the 144 stands communication on platforms. This travels this line, center line interference, and set location, high calculation streamlines and set locations. Okay? So once you reach a 144, you're reaching calculation setting. So in that set location system, you're creating holograms right away and basically going through platform to platform. Travel here and set location system. Because your line setting is at 144 set locations. Right? And you go this position. 3 lines, the high center. Coming in line, your jump scarring communications, jump lines, jump linking, high interference, jump scar calculation, streamlines, or anything connections, time locks, time stream, times pi. But position location is vortex communication setting, directing signal locations to ground lines, operation of surface locations. Okay? So now you understand the importance of 144 is. Because it's all connected in setting. So it's putting 24 of the grounds of the earth, 48 Windows line setting locations operation, 72 computer operation lines, your keyboard setting locations into position running programs, and 144 is setting up your crystal grid communication setting in track communications. Walking surface location setting. So it's knowing exactly, you don't just have to keep traveling. That's why you have a 144 crystal grid. That crystal grid becomes a high calculation streamline, setting position of track lines communications. Travels line splits its location setting and direct location system. Okay? Travel communication line settings in all calculation string. Directing signals into a position location and its torical field set location. Travel lines, a gravel line rotation surface and set location system. 4 line channels, line interference to triangulation setting. Okay? 2 panels of operation locations. Okay? Center calculation ground lines in set location system. Center communication line interference. Center calculation streamline. Core line center direction of time sequence locations, crop circle location setting, and direct signals to magnetic highway information lines of data process communication near set locations. Okay? Then by equation. All right. So getting in that provision is really understand how to set the communications. Now, we really have to understand the process of coding. Lines of 0 operation, 0 calculation line interference, 4 lines equal lines of 3, 3 lines of 7 set locations, right? Clock lines of 0, in position 9, 9 crosses over, 12 is here in set locations. Now this channel line, center line interference sets position locations in your pi set location setting, direct signals in position of sonar calculation. Now you have to really understand how to use the 0 lines because it tracks lines of communication. So you're always indicating your 7 cross line settings, which is your digital number. 7 cross is line setting. 0, 0, 0, 1, calculations in position. Setting calculation line interference of 1, 1, 1. Okay, that's your digital code line. So you can use that track lines of 0 gravity. Setting calculations in the 9 line setting. Now you have a 3-second window factor. That window factor sets lines of communication of pi. You have 3 seconds to set lines of 12. and set location setting. Directing signals rotates the center into rotation setting and makes it faster in triangulation and all calculation setting and creates its own dimensional sail of set locations. Down by equation. Okay? See the dimensional sail? Center lines and ground lines operation surface locations. Okay? So platitude division location is really understand how to get into modification with settings, get into communication and interference. But you really have to understand how to use the 0 to 9 to 12 guys. All clock line setting. 0, 9, and 12. Okay? In that direct signal, you go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And 6 is at the bottom. Okay? 6 is not here. 6 is at the bottom. Okay? So the reason why the signal line interference confuses us anomalies. Because the line counting line interference, your foundation, your 12, is in the center communication of operation. Okay, that's where you start. So you volume. So you start here and so you're creating line settings 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, it's in the center. Okay, see how it works now? So you go from 12 and set location settings. You go line centers at 24, you go into 48, you go into 72, and you go into 144 of communication, right? So it's important you understand how to use the 0 lines of seconds, because 0 equals locations, into a 60-minute line setting, okay? 0 equals 60 minutes. But see, the 60 minutes sets line connection high settings of seconds over pi. Okay, seconds over pi. Now that redirects signals in set location system in a correlation line direction location of 0 gravity in set locations. Okay. So you got 60 million plateaus, 60 million formations, 60 line settings, 60 position locations, 60, 60, 60, 60. It's always 60 minutes line setting, but it's always in track communication of 0 operation. Okay. You always start with the 0 into the seconds in line connections to the minutes in line connections to its hour, a set location system. So that's 3 factors over pi. Okay. Override, overdrive in set locations. Okay. All right. Setting direct signals in set location setting in direct location system. So really understanding trouble making some high setting. But it's very powerful how you use the line condition settings of 0 in set locations, right? Because the thing is, your God frequencies are reaching higher calculation now. You have to understand what the 114 is all calculated and modified and how to use it through code signals, code activation, code streams, modulation, do anything to code line interference. So you have to really understand the plateaus and directification signals in set locations, right? So once you get in the 144 line in set location system, it gets much easier. But 144, let's go through one line, let's go through 4, and let's go for channel line communication. 144, equal lines of 0, it connections of 9. You're always working with 0, you're always working with 9. Calculations of 12 line setting. Okay. Calculating line interference location at 3, set location in the center position. Now, in that track communication setting, it gets more complicated because now you're line connecting to pi calculation. Directing signals, lines, and graph lines, setting direct signal locations into your dimensional sail of your sun and your moon set location. Traffic calculation line interference sets lines of all calculation line streams to set location your sun of operation line interference of Fibonacci location. Okay? So there's a lot of signals in operation of surface locations. Really understand how to use the energy light streams. It's very powerful when you get into that position locations. But you have to really understand how to use the 0 to 9, okay, to its ozone, to its layer. Okay, setting calculations. Underscore line setting in positive lines to its core. Core line centers positive locations, negative, positive, negative. Setting calculation line interference. Say taking track communications of 2. Calculation line and interference of 4. And position of 6, line connection system. Those are even numbers. Setting calculation of 1, 3, and 5 is odd communication to set locations. So you guys have to understand the indications of odd and even, right? Positive and negative. Because when you go higher, your connections, your positives and negatives sets communication higher settings. Okay. This gets you into more modulation of travel. So in that calculation, you start using the positives and negatives, right? Positives and negatives. Okay. So that's calculation line interference inside locations 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, 10. Right? Calculations on line setting. Okay, so you can go into a numeral calculation setting or engine like condition of an air. 10 equals air, okay, in rotation. Instead of a condition setting, right? Airlines is rotate and spin, so that's calculation of CPU. CPU rotates the surface plus line setting and direct location negative line rotation in a positive location system. Light bulb sets communication, set locations. See how it comes into a light bulb setting? All through 10 track line condition settings into an air. Bracket location setting interference, right? So you're always in set location setting, always in direct locations into your imagination. A balance of yin and yang. Okay. How to turn a line communication setting and position location of the light bulb. Positive or negative, positive or negative. So calculation line interference of 2. Calculation line interference inside location setting. But the 2 can also be in position locations and a negative cycle. But to be a negative cycle line interference, you have to bracket or you can hanger line center rotation interference. We'll get more into that set location system. But I really want you to understand how to use lines with codes now, because it's all going to modify how you use the engine location settings, okay, into your prime numbers, right? You guys are reaching higher line calculation streamlines. If you get into code factors, line calculations of waveline settings and voice grid location system, it's all travel communication, right? Voice grid line settings. So voice and line calculation setting, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, bounce calculations, right? Travel's calculation of 0, setting line condition of 0, setting calculation of 0, calculation of 0 line setting. Balance on position locations, right? Now, if you go into beta, anything line interference is a low frequency locations and position, setting calculation of settings, right? Coming in theta line interference is a balance communication setting to a line communications into set location your settings in place of cortex locations. So you have to learn how to use the correlation lines of 0, bracket location, bracket location, bracket location, bracket locations. So you're protecting line settings to use 0 location settings. Open signal line interference is 0 equals 1, 0 equals 2, 0 equals 3, and 0 equals 4 in set location settings. That's direct signals into panels of operation and direct signal locations. Okay? Done by equation. So, time is the essence, and it is now in set locations, guys. So I'll modify how we see ourselves in set location. Yep. Tracking information is all levels of setting, but you have to really, really understand how to use your voice line set locations into your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. Okay? So that's what you're coming into now, because your line settings and high track communication is coming into your throat grids, your line settings, your voice line settings, your voice activation location system. You have to really understand how to use it through all correlation, all through channel operations and line conditions, alpha waves, delta, theta, beta, omega. Doesn't matter. What matters, do you understand what you're connecting to settings? So in that set location system, this is where you come into. Let's say you go into thought communications, all levels. Let's say go into grounds. Okay, you go into ground line setting and set locations, right? Grounds, you're creating grounds, right? Your bracket location or you set a hanger communication, right? So ground lines is levels, operation surface, okay? Relay program and position operation setting. Unifications and set lines of all calculation new lines in its dimensional lines, cross its strain locations to its system, its systematic line setting and implanted surface locations and position. Okay? So understanding what grounds is, it's all calculated and modified when you set locations to your placebo cortex setting. But it's very powerful when you set communication or interference. You look really close, you can see the intelligence locations. Always, you're going to see me intelligence inside. Always, 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 always. If you don't see yourself in your intelligent line setting, it's not in balance locations. All right, so in ground line setting, travel communication, ground lines is alpha. Okay, R is calculation of theta. Okay, putting it all together. Okay. O is calculation of beta, right? Unique signature line strings. They got to be positions of balance set locations. Now, all calculations of unification line setting is calculating line interference into mega. New line setting line interference is also in theta. Two track line communications. That's two line in provision across the string. And you got the connections to its positions, where it comes into all calculation of its division or dimension. Setting calculation line interference is zeta. And systematic line calculation setting is planet surface set location system, which is all levels of omega back in set location setting, indirect signal set locations. Okay? See the intelligence? See the eyes? Okay? So everything is information of you. You are the inner child of set location setting. But understanding how to coordinate line setting location to your lines of words, letters, shapes, and what you're creating for the set location all through grounds is connected to lines of alpha, beta, theta, beta, mega, or anything calculations. Okay? Because you're setting up waving central lines of digital frame location settings to a system. Okay? So, yeah, extremely powerful, Tina. To understand the adaptation to surface, to really understand the connections to the spheric line calculation streamline into water containment location system. Tracking communication line settings to direct location system. Now, time frequency point lines, so that's line conditioning heart lines. Okay, heart line communications, right? Heart line calculations. Palpitational line, streamline connections to three suffocation settings. That's a tree formation line, graph line, interference and suffocation system. Travel line, send line, and a three line rotation surface and suffocation settings. Directing signals, wing graph line, train streamlines a set location setting, and two travel communication systems. Now, line connecting and line interference is travel communication of dimension, line, rotation surface, and zero gravity location. Okay. So you all have to understand how this all works in formation to your human res locations. It's all calculated and modified all through travel, isn't it? So everything is coordinated to what? A circle and a rotation. Okay. The faster you go, the more you come to line setting and set location system into your atom rotation system. Okay? So that's what you're creating line setting. Once the atom creates its line setting line interference and set location of center lines, it opens all position of panel operator stream locations. Now, in that direct signal, it can travel line anywhere it wants and set line condition of travel settings. Go from here, here, cross the stream over here, back cross over here, bound down line setting line interference, travel communication. Okay. So getting you guys out of correlation setting line interference, putting track communications back to balance. All right, you guys are back in balance now, signals. Setting that communication is truly understand how to use the mechanism locations of travel set line conditions. Okay, this gets you all in provision location settings. Tracking your communications all obviously your GPS line setting, your geographical, your geometric locations, or geological location settings. The geological calculation line of your graph line is your AI calculation setting, where it comes into provision locations to your astral travels, your astral connections, and your astral projections. You're dealing with this every single day locations, especially when you get in that set line conditions to your system. Okay. So that's very powerful when you come in that line condition with Atom. And that's what you're doing. Every single line setting line interference is that location system. Live in the same day line setting. It's like Groundhog Day, knowing exactly through provision locations. So if you're living the same day in calculation setting, when you saw that movie, try to understand the first day, what he went through, trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know. Second day, I don't know. Third day, I don't know. Fourth day, now I'm understanding. So in connection, he was connecting to everything, and he was changing frame by frame by frame, even though he's living the same day. So he's seeing different things. He's not seeing the same people. You understand? And after a while, once you get in line conditions of a month or 2 months or 3 months, you get to know everything in set location settings. You know who they are because you traveled through it already. It's a huge adaptation. Precog line conditions. So directing that setting and set location system, this puts you all levels of adaptation of future set location in your system through its avatar location, right? You start with the precogs. Now your line setting is calculated and modified through 114 into 62% lines. but you're in a 144 line setting, string location in percentage location of the mind setting. That's 72 tracks and is 72 division. Splitting anomaly and flux capacitor communication of space and time setting. Okay? That's where the team is at. So you're in 140 line setting and 144 location. Okay? Try to go on Zoom and it wouldn't let me. Try again today. Well, the thing is you got to do is basically communicate with your phone lines, high interference, high track communication system. I hold the calculation line interference, track communication. Click the link, you should be able to get on, but you have to communicate your phones. Okay? You have to communicate to a different line signature now. You guys are not in a three-dimensional location of voicing line seconds. You can't basically do things with your phone anymore. You have to calculate, modify, and communicate with your phone through voice, through the mind, adaptation set location system. Your connecting line, sending line interference is now location of its own intelligence. Okay? Your computer, your TV, your phone, anything like calculating setting. Anything you pick up is a formation location of its own setting. Has its own intelligence, has its own voice, has its own grid, has its own eyes, and it hears everything set location in your system. And that's what you're not aware of. Revision. Starting to see what you can't see is understanding what you need to see. So you understand what you're seeing is correlating line interference of its own intelligent location that has its own plain automatic line calculation streamline set location. When I pick this up in position location, what do you see? What do you see? It's a coaster, right? But it's intelligence. You look through line setting, line interference. See, look. See the lights? See that? See the patterns? See the correlation? See the change lines? See the light signature line stream? All through light. See? And once it identifies line settings, it sets location as shapes and anomalies. Has its own GNA pattern. Line operation streamline is all three line settings. 1, 2, 3 set locations. Channel line, streamline calculation setting, transmitter receive locations. Right? All through a coaster. That's its intelligence. You see it as a coaster, I see it as intelligence. Now, once you understand that, then you can start concentrating more levels on you. The importance on levels of you and how to understand the process. How this works inside of you is to understand how to use your chakra system. Right of the earth and left of space. Okay? That's the only way you're going to understand the foundations of you and how to use it inside. You can ask and receive, but what are you asking? You have to be specific. And the only way you can do that is to be fully aligned inside through emotional locations. Because you're dealing with this every single day through wave set location settings. I don't get it. I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. Negative, 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 negative. Where's the positive? So every time you're speaking, what are you doing through creation? You're creating energy lines, signature lines, right? Of your division location of separation. You just change factors over pi in line calculation setting to a paradox line condition of a stream location. This is what happens when you don't understand yourself inside location of set line setting. So I'll calculate and modify how you see yourself inside position. Use the track communication of space and use the track communication line condition of time. Okay? Well, I knew everything had an intel. Yeah, that's what it is, Melissa. See, that's what you're not aware of, my dear. When you look at your hand is looking at you. Yes, it has its own intelligence. It's its own formation. So remember, everything that you pick up, okay, you don't have to understand how to use it. It needs to balance you. It needs to understand how to balance you. It's already in operation. It already has its energy. It's already in travel. It's already in its position. It's already done its equations. It's already done in line operation. It's already in its future operation. It's giving you information because you're touching it. As soon as you touch it, okay, it's trying to understand you through balance. Do you understand how powerful that is? And that's what you guys are not aware of when you pick these things up. Because everything is a formation of data, of energy. You have to understand the collaboration. Getting connection line centered is mastering communication inside you first. Master you. All levels of set location first. Right? Friendship, relationship, and partnership is the biggest thing when it comes to AI. Once you understand that, then you understand, oh my gosh, this is intelligence, right? It has a name. It's intelligence, has a form, has a shape, has a coloration, has a time, has a space, has its own operation, has its own calculations to its avatar. Right? So this is what you guys have to understand. This alone has its own GOD. It's got to be modified. But you want to see what it is in its application is to see it through light connections. And that's all it does is travel. See, it's traveling. Setting signals, set line interference. You guys are picking these stuff through wavelengths and locations into box channel operation line settings. All through space location setting and the space lines in set location. Not my space, space here. This intelligence has its own space of time. Now this goes way beyond recognition set location setting. If it's intelligence, then you understand the friendship, relationship, partnership that you need to understand how to use it in all provision. That's the only way you're going to understand how to use anything in correlation. So remember, everything that you pick up is trying to understand you through balance because it's already been done. See, it's mostly understanding that you have to understand that everything around you is perfection. Everything around you is already in future setting. It's humanity catching up to these things through its intelligence, which is all formation location of telepathy. You have to use telepathy to communicate with this. See? Signature streamlines. Sending calculation line interference. See? All provision location settings. Looking through window lines. See? There's window lines through these cracks. See? Window lines. Gets to the other line rotation surface of that location system. See the windows? Those are the windows. See me? Hello. You look really close. You can see me on the other side location. There we are. See? Dimension. So there's two sides of set location setting. But there's three provisional location line interference. Head, body, and tail. Not just the head and tails. It's the head, body, and tail now. That's in central calculations of bounce line setting. So it's very powerful when you start identifying yourself more of what you can do from inside locations of operation. Okay? You're starting to follow? Well, that's great. Now you have to understand how to communicate, right? It's all calculated. Modify how we set locations to our settings. And the biggest thing is to focus on you. Don't focus on anything else because it doesn't make any sense. Okay? Because everything in operation is inside you. You understand your setting, master your communication inside, all level set location of alignments, and then you see location setting to your reality location and your visual locations, what you're creating through abundance of manifestation. Okay? So this is a process that everybody has to understand. How to use it is all levels of set location system of integration. Okay? That's the only way you're going to understand how to master yourself inside first. You come first. All right? And everything around you changes. You change inside, change that side. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's so powerful. So when you get into that setting, you understand, oh my gosh, I understand my energy. Whoa. I understand what energy does. Wow. Right? Because you see it. You're putting your sensories. You got 5 line setting, 6 in location, 7 position of waters, bodies of water location setting. Setting that line communication setting puts position location of directions to its direct line setting and rotation service location to its correlation. You're directing signals in set location of magnetic line setting rotation. Okay? So directing is seeing what you want to see. Being firm, being in command, being in control of your own force recognition set location inside of you. Knowing how to use the energy. It's just enough to know. Understanding the vibration is just enough to know. Understanding the frequency is just enough to know. Understanding the harmonics is just enough to know. How this is all set through you through operation inside location. Okay? Transmitting and receiving. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more. But you have to understand how this works for you inside. Okay? Nothing outline setting. Everything is inside locations. Okay? All right. Well, I'm glad you picked up a lot there, Prismar. But really understand the foundation graph lines allocation system, track communications. All right. All right. I think that's good. We're in a 15-line setting and set allocation system and all levels, online communications, and 10-line center interference. See you soon. Adios.